The British colonies in North America that became the 13 original states grew enormously over the colonial period. Um, One of the things that we don't always realize is how long the colonial period was. It began with the settling of Jamestown in 1607, and it continued almost for the better part of 2 centuries until the American Revolution, which began in 1775. Maybe the best way to look at the dramatic changes is by looking at population numbers. Um, in 1630, which was already more than 2 decades after the founding of Jamestown, and this was the date when Massachusetts Bay Colony was founded, there were still only 4,700 people in Virginia and New England combined. By the end of the 17th century, it was about 250,000. But in the 18th century, the growth was very rapid. By the American Revolution, 1780 was during the Revolution, the population was over 2.7 million. Compared to these early numbers, that was tremendous growth. Compared to today, that's still a very small figure. We have about 315 million people in the United States today. But there's something else that we need to know about this population and about all of these migrants who came to North America in the 18th century. Most of them, when they came, were not free. If you look at the totals on this bottom line here, about 585,000 people moved to British North America in the first 3/4 of the 18th century, from the beginning of the century to the beginning of the American Revolution in 1775. But almost half of them were slaves when they came. Another 100,000 were indentured servants when they came, and another 50,000 were convicts when they came, often to avoid a terrible punishment up to execution in England. And only 151,000 were free when they came. That's a little over 1/4 of the total. So we need to understand this. This was not voluntary migration for the most part. Let's look at the economic system that existed in the 18th century. The dominant economic theory was called mercantilism. This was the idea that all wealth was nothing more, nothing less than gold and silver. The amount of gold and silver that a country had would determine the amount of wealth that they had. So how do you change that? How do you get wealthier? Well, if you could sell more to another country than you were buying from that country, then that country would have to give you the difference in gold and silver, and that would increase your wealth. That's the way they thought. Now, they also dealt with the colonies this way. By parent country, I mean the country that controls the colonies, in this case, England. And if they had a favorable balance of trade, that meant they sold more to the colony than they bought from the colony. So the way this would work is that the colony would send raw materials to the parent country, and the parent country would send finished goods, manufactured goods, back to the colony. So, for example, if the colony sent them lumber, that lumber would be made into furniture in England, and then the furniture would be sold back to the colony. Now, in order to regulate this system of trade, Parliament passed navigation acts, the first of them as early as 1651, and many of them in the 18th century. The navigation acts regulated trade. This is not free trade. This is not an unrestricted free market economy. This is a highly regulated economy. They banned manufacturing in the colonies. In other words, taking raw materials and turning them into finished goods. This was often violated, but it was sometimes enforced vigorously. They banned trading with countries other than England. They wanted to monopolize the trade. And they banned using non-English ships. You had to ship all your goods in English ships. Now, the nice part about this for the colonies was that ships made in the colonies were considered English ships, and this was a good thing for the growing shipbuilding industry in New England. Now, why do they do it this way? Well, the colonies existed to serve the parent country, England in this case, and that was the way it was supposed to be. From the point of view of the English crown, it wasn't ever supposed to be fair. It was supposed to benefit England. Now, if you see in this a basis for revolution later on, then it all begins to make some sense. But that's down the road. We haven't gotten there yet.